Hello and welcome here to Talk SCB, and welcome back here to the channel, guys, for another video. And what we're going to be doing today is reviewing the latest Barcelona news from last night's friendly against AC Milan, the star performer really from that game with Riqui Puig. We're going to be talking about him in some detail and what was said really after his good performance yesterday. We're going to be discussing back in Barcelona what's going on right now. There's a few players, of course, our key core players are back there in training. What is the latest there? Incomings, of course, Arturo Vidal is going to be on his way to Barcelona this afternoon. We're going to have the latest on that signing, and also an outgoing has been completed. Ac Vidal is heading back to Sevilla, so all the latest and more coming up. Let's do this. But we will start, like I say, with that game yesterday, very late, earlier hours of the morning. Barcelona against AC Milan, our final game of our tour of the United States in the International Champions Cup, and it was once again on the scoreline pretty disappointing. AC Milan 1, Barcelona 0. Andre Silva was that scored in the 93rd minute. It looked to be going to penalty kicks, didn't happen for us. But once again, to be honest, aside from the scoreline, it was a game that Barcelona dominated, despite having less first team experience out there on the pitch. Milan had pretty much their ideal team out on the pitch, the team that Gattuso would have wanted out there. Valverde, of course, was without a lot of key players. Like I say, many of them are back in Barcelona, many of them were at the World Cup, and you know, right throughout this tour of the USA, we knew that we were going to be a bit light in numbers. We knew that it was going to be a time to really see those Barcelona B players. But even having said that, we still enjoyed 68% possession. We still dominated a lot of the ball. Territorially, we had a lot more attempts on goal. 20 goal attempts we had to AC Milan's 8. But in truth, it was a game that lacked a lot of cutting edge. There was an awful lot of action in the final third, and it was really going to be a game where one goal would decide it either way. The kits were very similar. It wasn't that easy on the eye, and a lot of people early hours in the morning, myself included, it was a tough one to watch. And one man that really did catch the eye though, with all that put aside, is Riqui Puig. The young midfielder, once again this pre-season, really did impress. And it was after he came on in the second half, early on in the second half, he came on, he had a full half to express himself, and that's exactly what he did. And that's when it's so refreshing to see these young players like Puig, when they're given the chance, actually taking it, because that's the next step. Earning your place on this tour, earning your place in the first team is that first step, but then you've got to take it that bit further. Once you're given that opportunity by Ernesto Valverde, you've got to prove then why you stay in the team. And Riqui Puig was absolutely brilliant in that second half against AC Milan, and it wasn't only Barcelona fans and Barcelona coaching staff that noticed. AC Milan's side as well, they really did heap praise on him after the game, and he was heavily praised by Milan's coach Gattuso after the game. He was asked in his press conference about Puig's performance in that second half, and he basically said, even though Barca have players that look like kids out there, a lot of young players, they still touch the ball with such beauty, and that was what Puig did in that second half. So that was really nice words there from Gattuso. And also after the game, an AC Milan legend, Daniele Massaro, who actually went as far to ask for Riqui Puig's shirt. You know, a Milan legend, a legend of the game, you know, finishes a career now, of course. But after the game, he went to Puig and said, "I'd love to have your shirt." And in an interview, he then compared him with Andres Iniesta and talked glowingly about the talent that he saw in that game. So, like I say, you know, we always say it's only pre-season. You know, you can't always take a lot from these games. But what we can see is a lot of talent there, a lot of potential. Riqui Puig, a very exciting young player. He's had a brilliant pre-season, and I think he's really sent a message to Ernesto Valverde. He's going to make the step up to Barcelona B this season, but he is going to be banging on that door. He's going to be waiting for that first team opportunity, and I really hope that it is only a matter of time before we see him compete competitively in this first team in some games next season, perhaps. Because for me, he really does have all the characteristics that you would want in a Barcelona midfielder. You know, he came on last night, he always wants the ball, he's always demanding to have it, he's always happy to receive it, and those are two massive characteristics in the Barcelona midfield. He's happy to receive it under pressure, when he is pressed, when players, you know, gather around him, he's very calm in evading them, getting around, you know, pressing opposition. That's really important at Barcelona. Barcelona, and he can keep nice and calm. That's really important too. He's very composed on the ball, he's very mature in his game, and I think he suits Barcelona down to a T. And this is a player that we have to nurture that talent, we have to see him progress in the right way, and like I say, hopefully it only is a matter of time before we see this man more and more frequently in the first team perhaps. And moving on now to some news back in Barcelona, and some big news that broke yesterday, of course. Ousmane Dembele is back in Barcelona training. He surprisingly returned early yesterday morning to Barcelona duty. He came back, he had his medicals, he was in first team training. Mundo Deportivo broke the news first of all, and 9 days he returned earlier than he was actually scheduled to. On the 13th of August, both himself, Umtiti, Rakitic and Vermaelen were all expected to return, but Dembele getting himself back early, and that for me is really, really important, and full credit for Dembele for doing that. It shows good commitment, it shows his desire to succeed this season, and what it does now is give him the best possible chance of hitting the ground running this season, having a good start, building up some confidence, and earning the trust again of Ernesto Valverde. And especially given the criticism that he was received on social media, in the Spanish media, about the fact that he wasn't going to return early from his holidays, well, he's done exactly that, and he has put all of those critics firmly in their place once again, and I really do hope now that he can have a good start to the season, that he can continue proving people wrong. And just as a side note, I've mentioned this in many videos, but I just want to make it absolutely clear, no matter what you hear from the English media, from the Spanish media, from, social media with people posting pictures and stuff, Ousmane Dembele is staying at Barcelona this season. Make no mistake about that. Dembele will be a Barcelona player next season. Cope also echoed this yesterday. They said the club basically believe that Dembele is unsellable, he's untransferable, and they have no ambitions to do any deals at all involving Dembele this summer. So that is final. No matter what you hear, you can stay calm with Dembele. Moving on now to our incoming arrival, which of course is Arturo Vidal from Bayern Munich. All official now and all sealed. Vidal will become a Barcelona player. An agreement has been reached with Bayern Munich, 18 million euros plus 3 million euros in potential variables, which I think, to be honest, looking at that transfer fee, a player of his experience, we've spoken a lot about the positives and negatives of Arturo Vidal, but on the face of it, that does seem like a decent transfer fee and pretty good business overall. And Vidal now, like I say, will be on that plane to Barcelona this afternoon. He'll fly over, he'll land in Barcelona, and then once he does, he's expected to undergo his, necessary medical examinations. They're going to put him through a number of tests, as every player does that joins the club. Once those medicals are then complete, you'll no doubt have official confirmation come out from the club about that. And when that's all done, he'll then have the official photo shoot outside of the Camp Nou. And then when all that is done, he will then be officially presented as a Barcelona player at the Camp Nou in front of the fans, which should be a really good occasion. And one other very interesting piece of news regarding this Vidal to Barca transfer is that Barca actually spoke to a knee surgeon that operated on Arturo's Vidal knee, and that's really interesting to me. They actually spoke to Dr. Cugat, who had, operated on Vidal. He knows him well, he knows all about that knee, and they basically spoke to him about his recovery, about what they found when, of course, he operated, and how Vidal's knee sort of is going to hold up over the next few years. Obviously, he can't see into the future, but as a medical man, a very well-renowned surgeon, he can tell you a lot more into Vidal's fitness, and Barcelona basically seeked assurances from him before they went through with the signing. Clearly, they were happy with everything they received, they were happy with that information, and they now have proceeded to sign Arturo Vidal, and we're going to have to wait and see how he turns out. And one more bit of official news on the transfer front. One Vidal is arriving, but one Vidal will be departing. Alex Vidal's move to Sevilla has now been made official. Both sides have confirmed it, Sevilla and Barcelona. And Alex Vidal, who joined the club back in 2015 when we had that transfer ban, will now be leaving the club this summer for 8.5 million euros is the confirmed transfer fee, with the potential 2 million euros in additional add-ons. And that basically means that this summer now we have received just over 40 million euros in player sales alone. Deulofeu left, of course, going to Watford. Watford, Lucas Digne to Everton, and now Alex Vidal returning to Sevilla. And I have to say as well, we are expecting several more players to leave. As the transfer window goes on, we are now into the final weeks of this window. The English window shuts in just 4 days' time. We're going to continue trying to shift those players, but Alex Vidal will be on his way back to Sevilla. He gave his all in the time that he had here. He wasn't always the quality that we needed, but he always gave his all, and for that, we all respect him, and we all wish him all the very best in his next move to Sevilla. So that is basically the latest on the Barcelona front, guys. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on last night's performance against AC Milan. What were your thoughts on Riqui Puig? Let me know your thoughts on Dembele returning to training early. Arturo Vidal is on his way, and Alex Vidal is on his way out. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I will see you soon when I do have some more news. But until then, as always, Visca El Barça!